long before Alexander Zverev became one of the highest-ranked tennis players in the world, before millions of dollars in prize money, before Grand Slam finals, and before competing against the greatest players in history. He was simply a little boy growing up in Germany with a tennis racket that seemed almost too big for his hands. His name was Alexander Zverev. He was born on April 20, 1997 in Hamburg. Unlike many children, Alexander didn't discover tennis by chance. He was born into a family where tennis was a way of life. His father, Alexander Zverev Sr, had been a professional tennis player who represented the Soviet Union. His mother, Irina Zvereva, was also a talented professional tennis player. Both had spent years competing at a high level before moving to Germany. They understood exactly what it took to become successful: the sacrifices, the discipline, the endless hours of practice, winning and losing, pressure and expectations. They wanted their children to have opportunities they never had. Alexander wasn't the only future tennis player in the family. His older brother, Mischa Zverev, was already training seriously. Alexander watched everything his brother did, every practice, every tournament, every victory, every defeat. Instead of cartoons, the Zverev household was filled with tennis. Conversations about technique, training schedules, fitness, mental preparation. The family didn't simply love tennis. They lived it. Alexander picked up his first racket while still a toddler. By the age of 3, he was already hitting balls across the court. His parents never forced him, they encouraged him, made training enjoyable, taught him through games. Little by little, the game became his greatest passion. Very quickly, his coaches noticed something unusual. Alexander possessed incredible hand-eye coordination, exceptional timing, natural power, and remarkable athletic ability for his age. He wasn't just talented, he loved competing. Winning mattered to him. Improving mattered even more. His parents understood that talent alone wasn't enough. Every future champion needs discipline. Training became part of everyday life. Before school, after school, weekends, holidays, rain or sunshine. While many children spent afternoons playing video games, Alexander was practicing forehands, backhands, serves, footwork, fitness every single day. The sacrifices weren't made only by Alexander. His parents invested everything they had: time, energy, money, travel, coaching, equipment, tournament expenses. Professional tennis is expensive. Flights, hotels, entry fees, coaches, physiotherapists, training facilities. Every tournament required another financial commitment. There were no guarantees, only hope. The family believed in Alexander's potential, and they were willing to risk everything to help him succeed. As he entered junior competition, his progress accelerated. Tournament after tournament, he defeated older and more experienced opponents. His confidence continued growing. His powerful serve began attracting attention. His height gave him natural advantages. As he entered his teenage years, Alexander had already grown into one of the tallest players in junior tennis, eventually reaching approximately 198 centimeters, 6 feet 6 inches. Combined with remarkable movement, he became a nightmare for opponents. He could hit explosive serves above 220 km, h 137 mph, yet still move with surprising speed across the baseline. His coaches believed they were watching someone special. The international junior circuit introduced Alexander to players from around the world. Every week brought another country, another tournament, another challenge. Spain, France, Italy, the United States, Australia, the United Kingdom. Every victory increased his reputation. Every ranking update moved him closer to the top. His family traveled with him whenever possible. His father became not only his coach but also his mentor. His mother provided emotional support during difficult moments. His brother shared valuable experience from professional tennis. Together they formed one of the strongest family teams in the sport. Alexander's breakthrough came on the junior circuit. He won prestigious international tournaments, defeated many of the world's best young players, and climbed toward the very top of the ATP junior rankings. Eventually, he became one of the best junior tennis players in the world. Experts predicted a bright future. Journalists began calling him Germany's next great tennis hope. Comparisons with former champions appeared everywhere. But inside the Zverev family, nothing changed. His parents reminded him of one simple truth: junior success means nothing without professional success. Every new achievement simply meant more work, more practice, more discipline, more improvement. Alexander accepted that challenge. He understood something many young athletes never realize. The hardest part isn't becoming the best junior player. The hardest part is proving yourself against the world's greatest professionals. Soon that opportunity would arrive, and the teenager from Hamburg would begin climbing the ATP Tour faster than almost anyone expected. The tennis world was about to discover its next superstar. Alexander Zverev had conquered junior tennis, but everyone inside his family understood one thing: junior titles don't guarantee professional success. The ATP Tour is completely different. The world's greatest players don't care how many junior tournaments you've won. Every point must be earned. Every victory must be fought for. In 2013, at just 16 years old, Alexander officially turned professional. The competition immediately became much tougher. Instead of facing teenagers, he now faced experienced athletes who had spent years competing at the highest level. Many had already won ATP titles, some had Grand Slam trophies. Others had spent more than a decade inside the world's top 100. For a young player, it was intimidating, but Alexander never looked afraid. His powerful serve, explosive ground strokes, exceptional movement for someone nearly 2 meters tall, and fearless mentality quickly attracted attention. Tournament after tournament, he climbed the ATP rankings. Slowly at first, then much faster, the tennis world began asking the same question: who is this young German? The breakthrough arrived in 2014. At the Hamburg Open, Alexander stunned the tennis world. Playing in front of his home fans, he defeated experienced professionals and reached the semifinals. Most remarkably, he defeated Mikhail Yuzny, a former top 10 player. The victory proved something important. Alexander wasn't simply a talented junior anymore. He could beat established ATP stars. Only a few months later, he produced another unforgettable performance. At the Swiss indoors Basel, he defeated none other than Roger Federer. Federer was one of the greatest players in tennis history, a multiple-time Grand Slam champion, a global sporting icon. Very few teenagers had ever defeated him. Alexander had done exactly that. The victory made headlines around the world. Experts immediately labeled him one of tennis' brightest young stars. His confidence exploded, so did his ranking. Every season brought new improvements. His serve became even faster, often exceeding 220 km/h, 137 mph. His backhand became one of the most dangerous on the ATP Tour. His movement continued surprising opponents despite his height of 198 centimeters, 6 feet 6 inches. He could defend, attack, counterpunch, and finish rallies with incredible power. Soon the titles began arriving. In 2016, Alexander captured his first ATP title, then another and another. Winning became a habit. Every trophy increased his confidence. Every tournament victory brought larger prize money, more ranking points, and greater respect from fellow professionals. By his early 20s, Alexander had already collected multiple ATP championships. The rankings reflected his remarkable progress. He climbed into the top 20, then the top 10. Eventually, he became one of the very best players in the world. Yet the biggest achievement of his young career was still ahead. In 2018, Alexander qualified for the prestigious ATP Finals. Only the world's 8 best players had the right to compete there. Simply qualifying was already a major accomplishment. But Alexander wanted more than participation. He wanted the title. The tournament featured the strongest competition possible. Legends, Grand Slam champions, world number ones. Every match felt like a final. Alexander played some of the best tennis of his life. Powerful serving, aggressive baseline play, remarkable composure under pressure. He reached the championship match. Standing across the net was the greatest player of all time, Novak Djokovic. Djokovic had dominated mass tennis. Most experts expected the Serbian superstar to win comfortably. Alexander had other plans. He played fearless tennis, attacked from the first point, served brilliantly, controlled the rallies, and shocked the tennis world. He defeated Djokovic in straight sets. Winning the ATP Finals trophy at only 21 years old, it became one of the biggest victories of his career. The entire tennis world took notice. Alexander Zverev was no longer viewed as simply a promising young player. He had become a genuine championship contender. Sponsors became increasingly interested. Tournament organizers featured him on the biggest courts. Television networks promoted him as one of the future faces of men's tennis. Fans loved his exciting style, powerful serves, explosive winners, emotional celebrations, and fearless attitude against the world as best. Prize money continued growing. Every ATP title added hundreds of thousands of dollars. Deep tournament runs generated even larger rewards. By this stage, Alexander had already earned several $1 million in career prize money. Yet one dream still remained unfinished: winning a Grand Slam title and representing Germany on the biggest stage in world sport. The next chapter of his career would bring Olympic glory, Grand Slam finals, and unforgettable battles against legends like Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, and Roger Federer. His greatest challenges were still ahead. By the time Alexander Zverev entered his 20s, he was no longer viewed as a promising young player. He had become one of the biggest names in men's tennis. Tournament after tournament, his confidence continued growing. His serve became one of the fastest on the ATP Tour. His powerful backhand was feared by opponents. His movement remained extraordinary for a player standing 198 centimeters 6 feet 6 inches tall. Every season his ranking climbed higher. Soon Alexander established himself among the world as elite, but standing at the top meant facing the greatest players in tennis history, the so-called Big Three: Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, and Roger Federer. Together they had won dozens of Grand Slam titles, dominated men's tennis for nearly 2 decades, and were considered almost impossible to beat on the biggest stages. Alexander accepted the challenge. Instead of fearing them, he studied them, learned from them, and eventually started defeating them. His battles with Novak Djokovic became some of the most exciting matches on the ATP Tour. Both players possessed incredible athletic ability, powerful serves, aggressive baseline games, mental toughness. Every meeting demanded absolute concentration. Against Rafael Nadal, Alexander faced one of the greatest clay court players ever. Nadal's relentless intensity tested every opponent physically and mentally. Their matches became thrilling battles filled with long rallies and incredible shot making. Then there was Roger Federer, the elegant Swiss legend who had inspired millions. Alexander had already defeated Federer earlier in his career. Now every meeting between them symbolized a changing generation, the young challenger against one of the greatest champions the sport had ever known. Competing against these legends accelerated Alexander's development. Every victory proved he belonged among the world's best. Every defeat became another lesson. Every match improved his game. By this stage, Alexander had become a regular contender at every major tournament: the Grand Slams, the ATP Masters 1000 events, the ATP Finals. Fans expected him to compete for every title. Then came one of the greatest moments of his career: the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, held in 2021 because of the global pandemic. Representing Germany meant everything to Alexander. Unlike regular ATP tournaments, the Olympic Games are about far more than prize money. Athletes compete for national pride, for history, for a dream shared by an entire country. The Olympic tennis tournament featured the strongest players in the world. Winning would require defeating multiple elite opponents. Alexander played exceptional tennis throughout the week. Powerful serving, aggressive returning, calm under pressure. Then he reached the semi-final. Standing across the net was the world number 1, Novak Djokovic. At that moment, Djokovic appeared almost unbeatable. He had already won 3 Grand Slam titles that year. Many believed he would complete the historic Golden Slam, winning all 4 Grand Slams and Olympic gold in the same season. During the match, Alexander lost the opening set. He also fell behind by a break in the second. Most spectators believed the match was over, but Alexander refused to surrender. Point by point, game by game, he fought back. His confidence grew. His serves became bigger. His winners became more frequent. Then the impossible happened. Alexander staged one of the greatest comebacks of his career. He defeated Novak Djokovic. The victory shocked the sporting world. Germany celebrated. Alexander had stopped one of the greatest players in tennis history. Only one match remained, the Olympic final against Karen Khachanov. Alexander entered the court with complete focus. He controlled the match from beginning to end. Powerful serves, precise ground strokes, confident movement. When the final point ended, Alexander Zverev became the Olympic gold medalist. He became the first German man ever to win Olympic singles gold in tennis. It was one of the greatest achievements in German tennis history. Standing on top of the podium listening to the German national anthem with the gold medal around his neck, Alexander fulfilled a dream very few athletes ever achieve. The Olympic victory transformed his reputation even further. He was no longer simply an ATP champion, he was now an Olympic champion, one of the highest honors in all of sport. Yet another dream remained, winning a Grand Slam title. Alexander came painfully close. He reached his first Grand Slam final at the US Open in 2020. After an incredible 2 weeks, only one match separated him from history. The final became one of the most dramatic Grand Slam finals in recent memory. Although victory slipped away, Alexander proved something important. He belonged on tennis' biggest stage. Years later, he reached another Grand Slam final, this time at the French Open. Again, he demonstrated that he could compete with the very best players in the world over 2 demanding weeks. His performances consistently placed him among the elite, top 5 rankings, major finals, Masters titles, Olympic gold, victories over multiple world number ones. Very few players of his generation could match that, or some by now. Alexander Zverev had established himself as one of the world's premier tennis players. Millions of fans followed his matches. Tournament organizers built schedules around him. Sponsors competed for partnerships. The boy who once dreamed of playing professional tennis had become one of the biggest stars in global sport. But the greatest financial rewards of his career were only beginning. Because success on the court would soon turn Alexander Zverev into one of the highest paid tennis players in the world. By the time Alexander Zverev reached the top of men's tennis, he was no longer playing only for trophies. Every victory had another reward, millions of dollars. Professional tennis is one of the highest paying individual sports in the world. Unlike team sports, players earn money from multiple sources: tournament prize money, endorsement contracts, appearance fees, exhibition matches, image rights, business investments, and sponsorship agreements. Alexander Zverev successfully built all of them. Every season his earnings continued growing. Every tournament victory increased his prize money. Every deep Grand Slam run added another massive paycheck. By the middle of the 2020s, his career prize money had exceeded tens of millions of US dollars. Each Grand Slam offered enormous rewards, reaching quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, or lifting trophies could mean earning hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars in a single event. Winning ATP Masters tournaments generated additional income. The ATP Finals offered some of the richest prize pools in tennis. The Olympic gold medal itself did not make him rich, but the prestige dramatically increased his commercial value. Every success on the court attracted more sponsors. The bigger Alexander became, the more valuable his name became. One of his most important partnerships has been with Adidas. The global sportswear giant signed him as one of its flagship tennis athletes. Adidas supplied his match clothing, training equipment, shoes, and featured him in worldwide advertising campaigns. Millions of tennis fans saw Alexander representing one of the world's largest sports brands. The partnership was worth millions of dollars over the years. Then came luxury. Alexander also became associated with Rolex. For elite athletes, Rolex partnerships symbolize more than expensive watches. They represent prestige, excellence, success, and global recognition. Only a select group of athletes become Rolex ambassadors. Alexander earned that privilege through years of consistent performances. Another key partnership came with Ed. The company supplied the tennis racket he used during many of the biggest victories of his career. Professional equipment sponsorships generate substantial income. They also connect an athlete's success directly to the brand. Every televised match became advertising. Every tournament victory increased both the player's value and the company's visibility. As Alexander climbed higher in the rankings, more international companies wanted to work with him. luxury brands, automotive manufacturers, technology companies, health and fitness businesses, financial services. Each partnership strengthened his business portfolio, but sponsorships represented only part of the story. Alexander also earned appearance fees. Tournament organizers understand something important. When top stars compete, ticket sales increase. Television audiences grow, sponsors become more interested. Because of that, some tournaments invite elite players with guaranteed appearance payments worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Alexander became one of those players. His presence alone added value. Off the court, his lifestyle reflected years of success: luxury cars, beautiful homes, international travel, world-class training facilities, private fitness teams, physiotherapists, nutrition experts, recovery specialists, everything required to remain among the world as elite. Yet maintaining that level also required enormous spending. Elite tennis careers are expensive. Every season includes dozens of international flights, hotels, coaches, fitness trainers, medical staff, practice facilities, travel teams. Millions earned, millions invested back into performance. Alexander also understood that careers in professional sports do not last forever. Even the greatest athletes eventually retire. Because of this, he began focusing on long-term financial planning, investments, business partnerships, asset management, working with experienced financial advisors, diversifying income beyond tennis, building wealth that could continue growing long after his final match. His social media presence became another valuable business asset. Millions of followers followed his journey, training sessions, tournament victories, behind-the-scenes moments, brand campaigns. Every post increased his commercial reach. Companies recognized the value of that audience. Modern athletes are no longer only competitors, they are media companies, global brands, entertainment personalities. Alexander embraced that reality. As his popularity expanded, so did his personal brand. Marketability became almost as valuable as victories. By the mid-2020s, financial analysts estimated his total wealth in the tens of millions of dollars, with career earnings continuing to grow through prize money, sponsorships, endorsements, licensing agreements, investments, and commercial partnerships. He had transformed from a talented junior player into one of the highest-paid tennis stars in the world. But money never guaranteed happiness or victory, because just as everything seemed perfect, his career faced its greatest challenge. One painful moment, one devastating injury would threaten everything he had spent his entire life building. By 2022, Alexander Zverev had everything: Olympic gold, multiple ATP Masters titles, an ATP Finals championship, millions of dollars in career earnings, global sponsorships, a place among the world as elite. Many experts believed it was only a matter of time before he won his first Grand Slam title. Then came the 2022 French Open, Roland Garros, the clay courts of Paris, one of the most prestigious tournaments in tennis. Alexander played some of the best tennis of his career. Round after round, he defeated world-class opponents. His confidence grew. His movement was outstanding. His powerful serve dominated matches. Eventually, he reached the semi-final. Standing across the net was the king of clay, Rafael Nadal, a player who had already won the French Open an astonishing number of times. The match quickly became one of the highest quality battles of the tournament. Every rally was exhausting. Every point demanded maximum effort. Both players refused to give up. The first set lasted well over an hour. The second became even more intense. Millions of fans around the world watched two of the best athletes on the planet fight for every point. Then everything changed in a single second. Late in the second set, Alexander sprinted wide to chase a forehand. As he planted his right foot, his ankle rolled violently beneath him. The sound echoed across the stadium. Alexander immediately collapsed onto the clay. He screamed in pain. The crowd fell silent. Rafael Nadal rushed across the net. Everyone understood something was terribly wrong. Alexander tried to stand. He called in tea. His ankle had swollen almost immediately. Medical staff ran onto the court. Television cameras captured the heartbreaking moment. One of the favorites for the title could no longer walk. After several painful minutes, Alexander left the court in a wheelchair. His French Open dream was over. The images shocked the sporting world. Fans, players, coaches, commentators. Many described it as one of the most heartbreaking injuries in modern tennis. Medical examinations confirmed the devastating news. Alexander had suffered multiple torn ligaments in his right ankle. The injury required surgery. His season ended instantly. For the first time in years, there were no tournaments, no victories, no trophies, only hospitals, doctors, rehabilitation, and uncertainty. Professional athletes often say the hardest battles happen when nobody is watching. Alexander now faced exactly that. After surgery, the real challenge began. Learning to walk again, strengthening damaged muscles, regaining balance, enduring constant physiotherapy, hour after hour, day after day, month after month. The progress was painfully slow. Some days even simple movements caused frustration. Questions filled his mind. Would he ever move the same way again? Would his explosive footwork return? Would he still compete with the world as best players? Or had one injury changed everything forever? Many elite athletes never fully recover from injuries of this magnitude. Some return but never regain their previous level. Critics quietly wondered whether Alexander's best years were already behind him. He ignored every prediction. Instead, he focused on one small goal each day. Walk, run, practice, recover, repeat. His coaches remained patient. His family stood beside him. His medical team carefully monitored every stage of rehabilitation. Recovery wasn't measured in weeks. It took months. Long before he returned to tournament tennis, Alexander spent countless hours rebuilding the fundamentals. Movement, footwork, balance, confidence, every step mattered. Finally, after months away from competition, he returned to the ATP Tour. The comeback wasn't perfect. Some early defeats were painful. His timing needed work. His movement wasn't yet completely natural. But every tournament made him stronger. Every match rebuilt confidence. Little by little, the old Alexander began returning. His serve recovered its power. His backhand remained world-class. His confidence slowly returned. Then the victories came again. He defeated top 10 players, reached ATP Finals, won important matches, climbed the rankings, one position at a time. The player many believed might never return fought his way back among the world as best. His comeback became one of the most inspiring stories in modern tennis. It proved that true champions are not defined by how many trophies they win. They are defined by how they respond when everything falls apart. Alexander Zverev had already built wealth, success, and worldwide recognition. But the greatest victory of his career wasn't measured by prize money or ranking points. It was measured by resilience, because after suffering one of the most devastating injuries of his life, he refused to let that moment become the ending of his story. Instead, he turned it into the beginning of an even stronger comeback. Every generation of tennis has players who win matches. A few win championships, but only a small number leave behind something greater than trophies. A legacy. Alexander Zverev's story is still being written. His greatest achievements may still lie ahead, yet his journey has already inspired millions of people around the world. Not simply because he became one of the best tennis players on the planet, but because of the way he responded when everything seemed to fall apart. Looking back, his success was never built on talent alone. Talent helped him begin, but discipline carried him forward. From early childhood, his life followed a routine few people could imagine. Early morning training, school, fitness sessions, technical practice, recovery, travel, then doing it all again the next day, week after week, year after year. While many children enjoyed ordinary weekends, Alexander spent countless hours on tennis courts, improving one shot at a time, one serve, one backhand, one movement. Every great champion understands something important. Small improvements repeated thousands of times eventually become greatness. That philosophy shaped Alexander's career. As he grew older, the pressure only increased. Millions of fans expected victories, sponsors expected results. The media analyzed every match. Every defeat became international news. Every mistake appeared on television. Social media made criticism even louder. One bad tournament could create thousands of headlines. Many athletes struggle with that pressure. Alexander learned to keep moving forward. Win, lose, recover, improve, repeat. That mindset allowed him to compete against the greatest players in tennis history. Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, players who dominated an entire era. Instead of fearing them, Alexander believed he belonged on the same court, and time after time he proved it. His Olympic gold medal became one of Germany's proudest sporting achievements. His ATP Finals title confirmed he could defeat the world as best. His victories over Grand Slam champions showed that no opponent was unbeatable. Then came the devastating injury. Many careers have ended after injuries like that. Some players never recover physically, others never recover mentally. Alexander refused to become one of them. He rebuilt everything: his movement, his confidence, his belief. His determination became even stronger than before. That comeback may ultimately become one of the defining chapters of his career. Today, many tennis experts still believe Alexander Zverev has everything required to win multiple Grand Slam titles. He possesses one of the biggest serves on the ATP Tour, one of the strongest two-handed backhands in modern tennis, outstanding athleticism, experience, mental toughness, and years of competition against the greatest champions in history. The dream remains alive. Every new Grand Slam brings another opportunity, another chance to make history, another chance to lift the trophy that has always been within reach. Off the court, Alexander has also shown that success means more than money. Although he has earned tens of millions of dollars, signed global endorsement contracts, built a valuable personal brand, and achieved financial freedom, his greatest investment has always been himself. His body, his mind, his discipline. Because careers built only on talent often disappear, careers built on daily improvement last much longer. His story also reminds us of something important. Failure is never the opposite of success. It is often part of success. Every champion experiences setbacks, pain, losses, doubt, criticism. The difference is simple. Some people stop. Champions continue. Alexander Zverev continues. Every practice session, every comeback, every tournament, every challenge, he continues moving forward. Whether he wins one Grand Slam, several, or none at all, his journey has already proven something valuable.